Everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you from all over the US and all over the world. Today we're going to have a lot of fun. I am going to be using the new Let's Celebrate card kit, and I'm going to be using the solid stamps in that card kit to create the look of layered stamps. Now, layered stamps are super fun and they create beautiful effects, but sometimes you have a solid stamp and you just wish it had a little bit more pizzazz. So I'm going to show you how to kind of create the effect of a layered look. It jazzes up your solid stamps, makes them more interesting, and it's also really fun and easy to do. But before we get started, let's give a big hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Gina K.
How are you? Good crafternoon to you, too.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I am better than horrible.
Well, you can't ask for more. You really can't. Today we have gorgeous weather here in the 414 in Wisconsin. It is going to be 60 degrees today. Tom, we should be out on the bike.
Bye.
It is gorgeous here. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it is a hopeful sign. The birds are chirping. It's a hopeful sign that spring is not that far away. And did you hear, I don't know if you heard this, Tom, and maybe I'm misinformed. Maybe somebody can tell us, but I heard on the Weather Channel app today that there was a vote. Our government had a vote, and we're just going to stick to daylight savings time year round.
Yep, I did hear that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, they are getting stuff done, boy, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing so much. But, you know, in reality, I think all of the people in the government woke up after daylight savings time and said, we're not going to do this anymore. They're all too tired. So I'm happy about that, though, because I like the idea of it being lighter later. I like to leave work and still have some daylight when I drive home. So, the House hasn't voted yet? Oh, Kathy, don't tell me that. I need this to go through. The time changes don't work for me. Well, hopefully it'll pass. It's not that controversial of a thing. So hopefully everybody can agree.
Not yet.
I'll tell you. Well, we did promise that we're going to have a word of the day. I think we're going to have a word of the day a little bit later. I think Tom is brewing something, or I don't know if you're going to call it the word of the day or what.
Something similar to the word of the day.
You got something for us?
Yeah. In fact, you started a new segment last live.
Oh, yes, I did.
With the 12-in-1 stuff.
Yeah.
That is the new segment called The Why of the Day.
Oh, the why of the day. All right. Well, yeah, I'll work on more whys of the day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I actually have one that we might talk about later. We'll see. If not, I'll save it for next Monday.
Okay.
But anyway, let's get to crafting. It is crafternoon, and let's get to crafting. So the stamp set that I'm going to use today is this one right here. This is the stamp set called Flow. Oh, I'm really zoomed in tight here. This is Flowing Florals. Let me zoom out. My goodness. Flowing Florals. And let me get a piece of white cardstock so you can see it. Now, we've used this stamp set a lot in my 5-minute card videos. I'm telling you, when we do a kit, we do a lot of videos on the kit. I've used this stamp. I've used this stamp. I've used this one. I even did one with all of these. We've done lots of birthday cards with the other set. But today we're going to use the flower images and some of the leaves. And we're going to create a floral card using these solid images. Now, I absolutely love these images for things like gold embossing. I don't know if you guys remember that gold embossed card I did on release party night using these images. Solid stamps are absolutely striking for stuff like that. But sometimes when you just want to do colors, you need a little bit of something extra. So, oh, that's funny. That's funny, Jean. How about one stamp 12 ways? Yeah, well, you know what? If you watch my videos long enough, you're going to see that I do that anyway. All right, so I'm going to start with a piece of cardstock here. Actually, I don't need to do anything to this piece of cardstock. I'm going to just put it into my MISTI. Now, you can use the MISTI for this technique. I think it's the easiest way to do this technique because you're going to stamp and you're going to restamp over in the same spot. So use your MISTI or stamping platform that you have, and it'll be much easier to do this. Now, some people can do it with an acrylic block if you've got, you know, the ability to really see where you're stamping, or if you use something like the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. Remember that old tool where you could use an acrylic block to align? It was an alignment tool for an acrylic block. But now that we have the MISTI and tools like it, I think it is the best way to go. So I'm going to put the 3 flower stamps right here, like this. We'll start with those right there. So we're going to try to use as much of this piece of cardstock as we can. Now you can see I've been playing with my stamps. So they are stained. And whenever you're using reds or, you know, bright pinks, they will stain. But as long as you clean them, it won't transfer the ink. So I could go back and use yellow on these stamps. It would be totally fine. All right. So I'm going to pick these stamps up. Let's try that again. Put a little more pressure. Pick these stamps up using the MISTI. And then this is my piece of cardstock. I'm going to keep it in that corner, and I'm going to keep it in place with the magnet. If you prefer to tape it down, you can do that. Now I'm going to start with a single color of ink here. So before I do that, this stamp right here, can you see that one right there? It does have a stem, and I don't want to ink up the stem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Post-it note, and I am going to use a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut a very thin little piece of Post-it note here. Let's see if I made that big enough. And I just want to block that off. Okay. So let me zoom in so you can really see that. I'm just going to block it off. And the reason I'm using a Post-it note is because I'm going to probably block this same image off several times, and I'm going to replace the Post-it note each time because I'm going to have to take the Post-it note off, and I don't want to contaminate the area that I want to be green later, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to start with some Peach Bellini. Peach Bellini is another one of those colors that is so beautiful, and I don't use it enough because you guys know I use turquoise on every card, and I got to get over that. So I'm going to start by inking up all of these stamps using Peach Bellini. So all 3 stamps together, and you can see I'm kind of blocking that off there. There we go. Now, before I stamp this, I'm going to pull that Post-it note paper off, and then I'm going to stamp these 3 images. I'm using my Chucky tool for this because I want to get nice, good pressure. Okay. And you can see it didn't stamp that little stem, right? And that's what we want. So if I want to do a second coat, I can go back and I can pop this little Post-it note right back on there just to block that off again. And then I can ink it up a second time. Now, I'm not too worried if I get a little bit on that part because the green will cover it up and it'll just give it a little shading, so it's not the end of the world. But pull the Post-it note off. Almost forgot. And that just gives me a little bit more solid color there. Okay. So now my next step is going to be to clean these stamps. Let me get my tidy towel. I want to clean this all up here. Okay, make sure they're not sopping wet. Now I'm going to add a little bit of yellow around the outside. I want these to be a little more shaded. I don't want the peach to go all the way to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Gina K Designs ink cube for this part. I'm going to just go around the outside of this flower, just like that. We'll do one at a time so you can see the difference. So I just added a little bit of yellow to change the shading there. Now I'm going to zoom in. Tom, can they see that pretty well? That little bit of yellow that I added?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other one. Add a little bit of yellow just around the outside. So an ink cube is a great way to do that because it's easy to control. But if you don't have an ink cube and a pad is too big, you can always take a blending brush and add it. Or you can do something like one of these. These are little makeup sponges that I got at Walgreens. They have them at CVS in a bag, and I really like them for detail work. And they're super cheap. You can wash them in the sink, and you can sponge on a little bit of color in different spaces that you want. Okay, and then my last one, I'm just going to add some up around the edges of these leaves. Like that, just to change up the color a little bit. And if that yellow is too stark yellow for you, you can definitely do something like sweet corn, which is a little more buttery yellow. But I wanted to really be able to see it for the video. Okay. Oh, thank you. My nails look nice. Thank you. All I did was paint them. I'm still working on my fake nails that I bought from Kathy Z's link over on Olive and June. I got to make time to do them. They're very pretty. I just haven't done them yet. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use one of these little makeup brushes, and we're going to add a little bit of color into the center of each of these flowers. Now I am going to put another Post-it note on that one right here to block that off. And then I'm going to use Coral Reef. I think Coral Reef and Peach Bellini are really, really pretty colors together. And I'm going to use, again, this was just, let me show you some of them that came in the bag. It was a bag of beauty blenders. So, you know, they're kind of fun. They've got different areas so that you can do like different kinds of inking. And I thought it would be fun to try. And again, they're super cheap, super fun to use. If you don't have those, you might have something similar to this. I have these. Remember these little finger daubers? You could certainly use something like that too. Or you can use the small blending brush. But these are very fun. Just fun to play with. So I'm going to just pounce a little bit of this Coral Reef on this. And then I'm just going to pounce a little bit into the center. I'm trying not to make it look like too much of a circle. Like I'm not just going bloop like that. I'm just kind of, you know, adding a little bit and then just a little bit down here at the bottom. Okay. And now I'm going to add that color in. Ooh. See how pretty they're starting to look? They're just getting all multicolored. Ooh, did you see what I did though? I forgot to take this off. So I've got a little shading there. That's all right. It won't be a problem. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use a Zig Zig clean color brush marker. So let me get a piece of cardstock under here so you can see this better. Is that too bright? Maybe I'll use a different color. Let's go with, how about if I use a Peach Bellini card base here for underneath? Does that help? What do you think, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think that's good? Or maybe, how about Craft? Craft is always a very good color for under here. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take this brush. This one is called Deep Red. And then I've got one here that's called Carmine Red. So I'm going to play with these two. I'm going to start with this big one. We'll do one at a time. Yes, you definitely could put more than one color at a time, Silver. Definitely. That would not be a problem. But I'm doing them kind of separate because I'm not sure like what I want yet. So it's easy to I don't know, if you put more than one color and you like one, you don't like the other, you're not sure if you like it because it's blended. So I'm just kind of doing one at a time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to flick this brush up like this and kind of create like little streaks. Like this. And this is where you're going to start to get that layered stamp look, because you'll notice a lot of the layered stamps have like a part that does something similar to this. It's a little easier when you're not on camera to do it, because you can kind of turn the MISTI a little more. Okay. So now we're going to stamp that, and we're going to give it a chance to kind of crackle and be watercolory. And we're going to stamp that. See what that did? Can you see all that detail in there? Isn't that pretty? Yeah, zig streaks. I love it. Okay, so now we're going to do the next one. We'll do this one. Just like that. And it's just such a fun way to stretch those solid stamps and do something different than just plain silhouette stamping. I have a why of the day, Tom. I just have to get it out before I forget it.
Uh-oh.
I have a question for everybody out there. So my question is, this is a why question. This really doesn't have to do with you, Tom. This has to do with me. Ooh, I love the way these are coming out. Isn't that pretty? Yes, you can use other types of markers for this. So another type of marker that you could use is a Tombow marker. Anything that's a watercolor marker. So you could use this, even Crayola markers, but make sure they're the ones that are like child safe because they're water-based. You could use something like that. You could use Stampin' Up markers, not their alcohol markers, but you could use their other markers. Now, I will warn you ahead of time before you get started that these zig markers do stain the stamps. They definitely stain the stamps. But who cares? I mean, I don't care. Maybe some people care, but I don't care because I always think that a stained stamp is a loved stamp. Well, I don't know. The Carmine markers, if they're water-based, then yes. So let me just say yes. Oh, Lychee, you're saying ooh? Is that a real person, Tom? Do you know? Okay, so I'm going to, maybe I said something that was ooh-worthy. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to do this one now. And this one, I'm just going to kind of bring those lines out from the bottom, kind of in a fan. Like that. Okay, so my why of the day is, okay, I got my hair cut a while back, and I noticed that my hair, you know, if I get it cut and for some reason it's too short, oh, look how pretty that one turned out. Nice. It seems to take forever for it to grow an inch. Yet a chin hair will grow 3 inches overnight. That is my why. Why does a chin hair grow 3 inches overnight and a head hair takes months to grow 1 inch? That is my why. If anybody knows the answer to that, please enlighten me. Okay, so now I'm going to use deep red, and I'm going to keep that. I'm going to do the same kind of thing, but I'm going to keep it very close to the center. I'm not going to go out quite as far. So just little streaks on this one. Okay. Tom, you don't know the answer, do you?
Well,
no, don't even.
It could have something to do with, you know how if you plant a lot of plants together, they, some of them shade others so that they don't get the sun.
Yeah.
Or if you put a bunch of goldfish into a small container and they're all kind of packed in together, they don't grow as big.
Yeah.
But if you have one big fish in a big aquarium, it grows really big.
Yeah.
Or in the wild.
Yeah.
Well, if you have one hair out there in the wilderness by itself, maybe it's
got room.
Spreads out. Yeah.
Very, very, very scientific. Linda's saying, just don't do it, Tom. Save yourself.
Back in the day.
No, I think he's saying I only have one chin hair. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know. All right, so I'm gonna just do a little bit more of this. Okay.
Remember you asked.
I did ask. I did ask. It's my fault. If you ask, you have to just accept the answer. Just remember that in life. All right. So, isn't this coming out so pretty? I love the mixing of the colors and the depth that you get from them. Here's another one. So fun. I know. I am with you, ladies that are responding. I am with you because I I don't get it. I plucked one last night. I woke up this morning. It was 3 inches long. All right, so we're gonna go right at the very bottom here, adding a little bit of that dark. Okay, and here we go. Ooh. Oh, these are so cool. I can lift it. So zig markers are not, I would not say that they're super expensive. They're kind of in the mid-range. If you want a marker similar to a zig marker, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, the Arteza markers are excellent. I have them somewhere, but I don't have them here. I was just looking. I don't have them here. I have them at home. I use them at home. I'll bring those in and I'll do something with those two. And they are very inexpensive compared to zigs. But then Carmine markers are very expensive compared to zigs, so it makes zigs look cheaper. So it's kind of your, it all depends on what your budget will yield. Okay, now before I take these stamps off, I do have to finish the stem because I want it to, be in the right place. So I am going to cut a Post-it note here. All right. There we go. Actually, I want to go right across because that's pretty straight there. And then I'm going to cut this one, just 2 little spots to go off the edges, just to kind of cover that up because that will get green on it. So this is kind of like masking paper, but it's a cheaper version for something that you're really not super worried about it being ultra precise. All right, so for this, I'm going to get my ink cubes out, and I'm going to choose Jelly Bean Green, and I might, let's try that. Let's start with Jelly Bean. Okay, so I'm inking this up really well with some Jelly Bean. This will be my trial one. I'm going to peel that off and then stamp it. So you can see now I have my stem on there. And then I can add a second little bit of color. So I don't have to worry about putting this Post-it note back on for this because I can be precise with my zig marker. But I'm not sure what color green to use. Now this is where my Arteza markers come in. One thing that I like about mixing the Arteza markers and the zig markers is they have very different colors. This one, this mid green seems like it would go well with it, but it might not show up very much. So, they really don't have a lot of the olivey greens in the zig brand. But if I get my Tombow markers into the mix, we can also try this one, which might be a little bit darker. This is 098. So we can kind of take a little piece of cardstock here and just see. There's that color. That looks very similar to the Jelly Bean that's in here. And then this one. Yeah, see, I don't think we're going to get too much variety here. We're not going to be able to see much. So I might go a totally different angle, and I might use this one, which is deep green. This one's a more Christmassy green, but let's give it a try because we definitely want to see the contrast, or else what's the point, right? All right, so we'll just do a little bit. We'll kind of go down just the one side here a little bit, just to add some shading, like right in there. And we'll see what that looks like. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that. All right, so this color it is. We're going to use deep green and jelly bean green. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see all of you here. So now I'm going to take the flower stamps off the Misty, and now we're going to work on a few leaves. All right. So let's do this one. And we'll do this one, but we're going to do these like more than once, definitely. And while we're at it, we might as well throw this one in here. So I'll put these two together. And then we've got to figure out what we want to do in the center here. I think we could put a sequin in there to really jazz it up. I have, some red sequins that would really make it pop and sparkle. This way I don't have to worry about coloring. But if we wanted to color it, we could go with that Carmine Red color. We could add a little bit of that in there. We could also do like a little bit of dotting in there with the very tip. That's kind of cute too. Just to jazz it up. But I think I probably will end up putting a sequin on top, but I wanted to do something just to show you what you can do. All right, so let's do this. Get one of these and two of these here. Okay. Okay, and one thing customer service asked me to let you guys know, and I have to let you guys know this. So you see on this stamp set, just as an example, see on this stamp set, down here, some of our stamp sets are now coming with the name of the set on the acetate. So here it says Flowing Florals. Now on the birthday one, they put the name up here. They fit it in wherever they can. But people are calling customer service saying, I didn't get the stamp that says Birthday Bash, or I didn't get the stamp that says Flowing Florals. There isn't a stamp. It's just the name of the stamp set on the acetate. So if you are looking at, but they put it wherever they can fit it in. So on this one, they couldn't fit it in down here at the bottom, so they fit it in up here. So just remember that if you see the name of the stamp, there isn't actually a stamp for that. I hope that makes sense, because people are saying there wasn't a stamp under that. And customer service is trying to explain that that is just an index name and not a real stamp. Okay, so we're going to go to the jelly bean green again, and I'm going to use my full-size ink pad since I am using these all at the same time. It's easier to ink them up with something big. Now, we could, let me see if I can do this effectively with something. Oh, you know what? I should have had a Q-tip, but I'm not going to worry about it. I was going to try to just wipe off the green dots. I don't want to mask them all, but maybe I'll just color them in green, like a darker green, and it'll be kind of a cool greenery look. Okay, so we've got these like that. Let's give it a second coat, get it just a little darker. Well, they can't. If we go with color printing on that, it would really raise the price of the stamp set. So it has to be black. Unfortunately, it really does cost a lot more to do color. And we're trying very hard to, with all the prices going up for everything, we're trying to do everything that we can to not have to raise prices. That's really something that's on our heart to do. Okay. So I wonder if I can stamp this one on the other side somewhere. I'll just wait. I'll do the small leaves again later. Okay. So now let's go ahead and color these with that darker green. And did I lose that one already? Oh, here it is, right in front of me. So again, this is deep green. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of color like a little bit down the one side like that. Okay. And we'll add that onto there. I kind of like when it crackles a little bit, like the ink pools a little bit, because that's how so many of those two-step stamps look, or the layered stamps look. I really like that look. We could even add another color if we want. We could add a little yellow in there. Let's do that. We'll get a little bit of yellow. This is the color yellow. So we'll just add a little bit up the other side of the yellow. Let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm just adding a little bit of that. And that is just going to kind of change the color of the green a little bit, but it's not going to be too obvious. So there we go. I added just a little yellow. Okay, so now we're going to go back and add a little bit more green into here. So we can just pick a spot on these leaves. Let's see if this helps more. We could just kind of go under the leaf. Just adding to each little leaf here. And if it starts to crackle too much, you can go back and just add a little bit more. All right. So pretty. Yeah, it's been difficult for all the stamp companies to try to keep the prices down. We're doing the best that we can. We really appreciate your patience with us when we have to kind of make modifications. Like, we would love to be able to do the name of the stamp set in another color. It's a brilliant idea, but gotta watch the prices. All right, so I'm doing the same thing over here with this one. But I'll keep that in mind, once the supply chain issues change, and if we get a little bit of relief with petroleum, because that's what clear stamps are made using, petroleum. If we get some relief in that area too, I can always talk to them about that and see what they say. Okay, here we go. I love all of that. So let's add a little bit of yellow to those two. Just a tiny bit. I am going to move this paper out of the way because it keeps sticking. We'll add a little bit of yellow in here. And we'll add a little yellow onto these dots. And see how that looks. Okay. You're going to be able to see this much better when I take my pictures too. So you can see now these look more pear yellow, and just having that little bit of yellow in there really makes a difference. Stamps qualify as part of household gas. Deborah, that is... Oh, Elizabeth, that is the best thing I ever heard. So she said, so what I'm hearing is that stamps count as part of our household budget for gasoline. The gas budget, not the crafting budget. Absolutely. I'm all for that. Okay. So now I'm going to take these two stamps off, and I'm going to put them down here, and I'm going to stamp them again and do the same thing because I want a few more of those leaves. You can't see the difference, Colleen? Make sure you go into our Facebook group after the live, or check out the community tab here on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, because why won't that stick? I'm not pressing hard enough. There we go. Because it's sometimes hard to see on the live, but when you see the photograph that I post, you'll be able to really see the difference in the color. You'll be able to see that subtle vibrance there. Okay, so now I'm going to do these last two again. I'm just going to use my Jelly Bean green ink cube this time. Do one more layer. Okay. Looks like my jelly bean green ink cube is a little bit more inked than my ink pad. This is my original jelly bean green ink pad, my first one that I ever had. And I don't think, maybe if I re-ink this once, and you know, guys know how much I love it. So might be a little darker, but that's okay. That'll give it even more texture and color. All right, so we're going to go back with this green again. And we're going to go down the side and add that. And then we'll add a little bit of yellow. Well, we're looking at our next release date to be the last Monday in March, we're hoping. All right, and now I'm adding the yellow, just a little yellow in there. Here we go. Okay. So now I have all these beautiful flowers and leaves that all look more like layered stamps. And now we're going to die cut them, and we're going to use Master Layouts 10, which is the new Slimline Master Layouts die set, but I'm not making a Slimline cart. So I think it'll be fun to see the way I use that stamp set today, or that die set today. So I'm going to replace my stamps so I don't lose them, because it's easy to lose them. I found one on my shoe once. I was walking around with it all day. Okay. So I'll grab my die cutting machine. I can't wait to show you guys the picture of this up close. So Tom.
Yes.
Do you have a word of the day while I'm die cutting?
I was going to do a word of the day, but I thought we'd, in honor of the word of the day, we would recognize an industry that really are the masters of the word of the day, of creating words, coming up with words that like are just totally new, unauthorized words.
Yes. Boy, that took me a long time.
When we started way back with the word of the day, I said one of the neatest jobs I think would be to just sit around and think up new words.
Yes.
And what industry does that more than the pharmaceutical industry?
Oh my God, I know, right?
You know, with Tremfya and you name it, they just come up with these words one after the other that.
Well, they kind of sound like what they do, but not really.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of do, but they don't really.
I don't. I know you see that connection, but I haven't seen that connection. They seem like words you just come up with, like snack fargan.
Snack fargan? What would that be used for? What would that treat?
I don't know. You go too far with your snacks or something, and it creates a snack fargan. Ask your doctor if snack fargan is right for you. Do not take snack fargan if you are allergic to shellfish.
Oh my gosh. So there's my first one. Is that pretty? I really like this. Snack fargan. This sounds very similar to the feeling that you get when you drive a Volkswagen.
Snack farfignugan.
Farfignugan. Whatever that means. All right, so I'm cutting these out. I'm just taking my time here because I really don't want to mess it up. And I'm not making a template today. I'm just, just eyeballing it and doing my best. But I am taping them down because I'm not feeling that brave today. No, I think those words always have like a little bit of something in them that makes you think, yeah, I can see that. But they're crazy words. All right, so there's two. I'll put them up here so you guys can look at them. Snack fargan. The word of the day. Alrighty. My tape is getting old here. These are trickier to cut out without my little template, but I'm going for it.
Hugo.
Your guitar is nice. Thank you for serenading us. Hello, hello, and welcome, everyone. We appreciate you putting up with our shenanigans on a Wednesday crafternoon. So you gonna go bike riding later, Tom? Or no? We'll see.
Time permitting.
Time permitting, we'll see. That's all we can say. All right, so this one. And then just those little leaves. I'm going to try to do 2 of those at a time. Yes, I can cut more than one at a time, Barbara. I definitely can. If I want to take the time to, tape them all down, I can definitely do that. But I'm actually using the same tape over and over again here. But yes, I have done that. Like when I use the Gemini, my Gemini, I really like the Gemini die cutting machine. It's the electric one. I'll just tape everything down all at the same time and just send it all through. I can do a couple of them here. If you want to see me do that, I can do that. So we'll get that one down. But I do want to tape them down because I want them to be nice. Can I do these 2 without taping them down? This could be a disaster, but I could try. They're very close to each other. Plus, I did have coffee today, so I'm already shaking a little bit. Okay, we'll give it a try. This could just eke over a little bit. There we go. Ooh. This is for you, Barbara. More than one at a time. So the leaves are going to be off. I'll tell you that right now. I saw it shift as it went through, but not bad. Okay, this one looks pretty good. Yeah, I could have taped them, Cindy, you're right. But in the effort to speed up the process, I'll just tape one side and see how that goes. No, it's not going to go well. I'm going to get a little more washy. Okay. And we'll cut these out. And then I'm going to get Master Layouts 10 out, and we're going to cut the frame. I am just in love with the frame on that die set. So let's take a look at that. This is Master Layouts 10. This is Master Layouts 10, and I really love this frame with this outline. So I'm going to grab those 2 dies out of there because even though they're meant to work with these gigantic slimline dies, they also are a beautiful size for A2 cards. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Your comments are going by quickly, but I appreciate you saying that you're not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry either. I got time. Okay, so I'm going to start by cutting this one out using white, and then I'm going to cut this out using black. I am going to use this for my greeting, and I'm going to use one of the greeting stamps from the Flowing Florals set. And this particular die was designed to cut out all of these strip greetings in here. It fits all of them, which is so nice. It's nice to have that one, that just works perfectly. So I'll get a little piece of white cardstock here, and I'm going to cut this out using this. Here we go. Okay. Now we could do a lot of things. We could wood grain a background. We could just do a nice little, oh, isn't that pretty? I love that die. We could do a nice little thing with the score buddy just to create some embossing on it. We could do something like that. We could do a combination of both. Why don't we do a combination of both? I feel like a little bit of gray wood graining would be very pretty behind these colors, but it wouldn't take away from the colors. Is that the set I used on Instagram? Yes, it is. I used this stamp set on Instagram. Okay, and you can see, you know me, I love the black layer. So let me just put these together and show you how cute this is. Go up against white. Isn't that perfect? Love that black layer. Oh, I know. The squeak of my old die cutting machine is gone. I'm not using that anymore. Okay, so I have all of that. We'll do the greeting at the very last. Ooh, I dropped one down there, but it popped out. There it is. Okay, let's put this away, and we'll start playing with a layout. Okay. So we could do our card one of two ways. We could do our card this way and make it more of a horizontal card, or we could do it this way. So let me lay it out. It's always fun to just lay out the design first to see how you would like it to look. I definitely feel like, let's zoom in a little so we can see all this happening. Okay. I kind of think if I did my false nails, I think it would help me because sometimes I can't pick things up because I don't have nails. So if we did this one here, and then we added this maybe over here. And then we had, I love these kinds of images to just like swoop down. And then one of these to tuck in and just have coming out of the top. Spread out the flowers a little bit. No, I didn't get, Rena has a machine. She's actually got a Spellbinders platinum machine. But she's not doing too much card making right now because she's so busy with her hair career. I have it here. If I ever need it, like for teaching a class or something, I have the extra machine. It's kind of nice. Could do something like that. You guys like that layout? I kind of like that. I think that that's really pretty. Yeah, it would be nice. This would look nice run through an embossing folder for sure. Okay, so, you know, I could even, all right, so I think what I'm going to do is we're going to do a little wood graining, but first I'm going to move that out of the way because I don't want to lose my layout. And you know my little trick, right? My little trick is to, let's see here, make sure I'm on airplane mode. So I just take my little design and then I open my camera and I snap a quick picture of it. And then when I'm working on it, I've got that nice little design there. I know how it's supposed to look. So that's just a little trick. And especially because I know a lot of people say to use the press and seal because it sticks everything together. But I like to do layers. You know, I like to have the green flat and then pop the flowers up. So as long as I have a picture of what I was doing before I disassemble it, I think it's a pretty good thing. Okay, so I'm going to cut a 2-inch strip here. And I'm going to cut this 2-inch strip because I think if we did some wood graining on this, that we could take this and go across and make a beautiful strip across the card. Okay, Let's try that. So I'm going to get a piece of cardstock here to protect my surface. And then, since this is 2 inches, let's create kind of like shiplap. So shiplap is kind of this board that, you know, kind of goes across, but it's like this way instead of paneling. All right, and we can do this shiplap. This is 2 inches, so let's do wide shiplap. We'll do 1/2 inch boards going across. So I'm scoring these at the 1/2 inch mark, the 1 inch mark, the 1.5 inch mark, and then that leaves me with 4 boards. Well, there is good wood grain stamps out there. I believe we've got wood grain stamps in our collection somewhere. Let's do soft stone for this. We're going to keep it very, very neutral. And now that we've got the lines in there, that's going to create the separations between the boards. So I'm going to do this down like that. I really think that looks like wood. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Okay, so I think we're going to go in the this way. The horizontal, the vertical kind of, we're going to use a tent fold too, I think. I cut some bigger sheets out here somewhere. Here we go. So we're going to use like a tent fold style card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the 3.5 by 4 3/4. I want to go with that size for my card panel. All right. But before I commit to that, I'm going to stamp my greeting, and then I'm going to cut these panels out using Master Layouts too, because I really want all the stitching to match really pretty. So let's pick a greeting for this card. We could make this a happy birthday card. We could make this a miss you so much card. Miss you so much would be nice. You know, we don't even have to cut this out. We could stamp it right there on the card. Let's do that. Let's stamp it right on the card. All right. So my final die cutting is going to be to cut out a Master Layouts 2 panel. I know most of you guys have this die set now. Master Layouts 2 is a big winner. So we're going to use the large rectangle for the white piece, the stitched rectangle for the white piece. I know you can't see what's going on down here, but I will explain as I go. So all I'm doing here, let me push this up so you can see. I'm just slipping this right onto the cardstock. I think I'm going to really love this card. Card base is Peach Bellini. I really wanted to stick with that peach today. I don't do enough peach. Okay, so you see how nice that's going to be having the stitched edge. It'll all match so nicely. And then we'll do the black panel to match using the plain rectangle from Master Layouts 2. And we'll cut that out. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate those kind words that I make everything look easy. Some days I don't, though. And I'm sure you've been here when everything went wrong. But I appreciate your vote of confidence. That's very kind of you to say. Okay. Now.
Someone new to the channel wants to know what the Master Layouts. Cindy.
Wants to know about them?
Master Layouts.
Well, Master Layouts is our series of dies that create layers and panels for your cards. And they layer together perfectly to create these nice little borders. And we have them for A2 cards. We have them for slimline cards. We have them for mini slimline, for square cards. So they really are a nice way of creating layers without having to worry about trying to cut them straight, especially when you're working with something like this. right? Where it's very hard to layer something like this together and get a perfect panel for behind it. It cuts things out like that. Okay, so that's what the card's going to look like. So we got to put our little greeting down here, and I can always tilt that to get it out of the way. So, miss you so much. Thinking of you. What do you guys think? Miss you so much? Why not? I have a lot of people that I miss. Maybe I'll do thinking of you because I'm going to give this card to somebody today. We're going to give this one out. Okay, so thinking of you is going to go right there. We're not going to see a lot of that wood grain, I'll tell you that, but we're going to see enough. It'll just set it up nicely. Okay, so I've got that in place, and I'm going to pick that up with the Door of the Misty. I can move these out of the way because I know where that's supposed to go. And then I'm going to use black onyx with this. I hope that explanation of the master layouts made sense. If you start watching some of my videos, you'll see how I use the different master layout sets in different cards. And they really are helpful. It does make stamping so much easier. Thinking of you. I don't think that's straight. Is that straight? I don't think that's straight. Nope, it's not straight. It's not straight. So, here's what we do when it's not straight. We stamp it again. And then we cut it out and we put it right on top of what isn't straight. Yeah. That's the beauty of live, guys. I always wonder if I'd have the stomach for making mistakes live in front of people. And you know what? I do. I'm totally fine with it. You guys are all so nice. There we go. What do you think? Do you like that greeting even? I don't know that I like it. I don't know that this is the right greeting for this card. Oh, I'm struggling. I feel like it should be something different, like maybe something not so big, because there's so much going on with the card, you know? Like maybe hello friend would be better just down in the corner. Or even right on the thing. Oh my goodness. Okay, change of plans. Plan B. I know I'm going to go over, but that's all right. You guys don't care, do you? Hopefully you're all laughing at me. I have the right to change my mind. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Maybe hello friend right down here. And then we build that bouquet right around it. What do you think? Okay, good. I saw one person say that it was perfect. I'm going with that. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of tape. And I'm going to tape this onto my Misty because I don't want it to move. And to make sure that it's straight, I'm lining up these two little edges onto a pink line. All right. Yeah, I think this is the ticket right here. I change my mind a lot when I'm crafting. I don't know about you guys, but I change my mind a lot. And the other thing too, I don't worry if I mess up because it is, seriously, it is just paper. But if you want to see what it's going to look like, use your index sheet. You can pop your index sheet right on here. You can ink it up. And then you can stamp it to just see if it looks like it's straight. I think that looks pretty good. All right. So, turn off my index sheet. You can always use like a little extra piece of acetate in your craft room for checking things first, which I should have done with that other one, but I was overconfident. Too confident. Trying not to press too hard on that. Oh, that looks really good. See, I'm so glad that I took the time to change my mind because I like this better. And I think with the size of this image for an A2 card, the size of this panel, I think having that greeting at the bottom was just going to take away from it. And then this can be centered more, which I really like the idea of that, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to layer it onto this one. Alrighty. So pretty. Okay, now I'm going to cut one more quick master layouts too. And then we will be ready to assemble this card. So I'll do this real quick. I'm off the camera, I know, but you already saw me do it once before I messed up. Okay. It's just got to be right sometimes, you know? And not that I'm a perfectionist, because you guys know I'm not a perfectionist, and I always say done is better than perfect. But sometimes when it comes to the whole layout of the card, if something really looks funky, you just have to do it the way you want to do it. Okay. Alrighty. So now this panel can go onto this right here. And these are both cut with the Master Layouts 2 die set. All right. And then this whole panel can go onto my Peach Bellini card base. I just feel like this is a great color card base for this card. Plays off all of those beautiful peach colors and the flowers. Okay. I didn't fold that very well, but it's all right. So this will go on here, but we're going to use our little bit of wood grain for behind it. So I'm going to trim that down to 3 3/4 of an inch. Now, let me show you a trick. I got to show you. Got to do it right. Okay. So I want my stitching to match. See, if I just cut this, the stitching is not going to match on the edges here. So I'm going to use my die cutting machine to cut this panel. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to lay this panel onto my plate there, and then I'm just going to cut it right in the middle like that. So it's straight, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, if you want to tape it down, you certainly can tape it down. You do want it to be as straight as possible. And then I'm going to cut that. All right. So now my wood graining has the stitching down the side. So when I place this on my card going across, the stitching doesn't get lost. It'll all be stitched and it'll look like it's all perfectly stitched. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Now the black piece I'm not as worried about because the layer is so thin that you're not really going to notice that. So I am going to hand cut a piece of black cardstock. And that's my original one was 2 inches. So I'm going to go to the 2 1/4 inch mark. And I'm going to take it to the 3 1/2 inch mark because that's the size of my panel. I hope. Yep. So there we go. So that just gives me that little layer on there. Okay. So I'm going to adhere these two together. Sometimes you just got to do it the way you got to do it. And then this will go in the center right here of the card. And my stitches keep going. All right. Now, of course, you could emboss this part with an embossing folder. You could do anything that you want to do. All right, and then this is going to go right into the center of the card like that. And see, I just get that little bit of shiplap going along the edges there. That right there. See, I think that was big enough that having a greeting at the bottom, I kind of like this. All right, so now we'll lay that out one more time. We know we want this over here. And we want the big flower here, so we can move things around this time. And it can go outside of even this part, which is totally fine. I like when the flowers all extend outside of the frame. Let's see how this looks. I think this will turn this way a bit because this one is going to come out this way. And then we'll add our little accent leaves. Okay, so we're going to start by taping down the greenery first. I'm not taping down here because that's going to extend off. So I'm holding everything in place and I'm finding where I want that and then placing it. There we go. Okay, this one too, same thing. We're just going to tape the bottom part of it so we can have it extend a little bit outside. Now, this one I'm going to tape down. I'm only going to pop up the other flowers. This one I'm going to just tape down right in here like that. Okay. Now we'll get these little leaves going. One here. And we'll do a smaller one. Right in here. And we'll do, that might be enough, you know, sometimes after you see it all, you're like, okay, that's enough. We probably could do one leaf right in here if we want to add a little bit of green. I think that will finish it off. Let's do that. Just a little leaf. Like that. Okay, now we're going to take some foam squares. Just need 2. And I will start with this big one because this is going to go down first. Okay. And then we'll decide where to put this so that all the leaves work. I think that looks pretty good. Put it there. And then this one will pop up right on top of it. You could double up the foam squares if you really want a lot of loft, but I think one will work just fine. This was so much fun. I hope that you guys will give this little inking technique a try because I think you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. There we go. There is my finished card. I don't even think it needs the sequins, although we could add the sequins. Might add a couple like in here just of clear sequins. All right. Well, we did go a little over today, but that's okay. I don't think anybody minds too much. So Tom, I'm going to add a few sequins while we are picking a winner.
Oh, right.
And I'm just using Connect glue here. I'm going to add, I have the Connect glue in a little fine tip bottle. Just going to add. There we go. Just a little sequinage. Gina K words. Just to jazz it up. Okay. All right, Tom.
All right, cheesy drum roll, please.
Yeah, you got the winner all ready to go?
Winner is Jessica Goodwin. Jessica Goodwin.
Woohoo! Jessica, congratulations. Jessica is our winner today. So Jessica, all you have to do is send your name and your address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get this card right out to you. There we go. I added a little bit of sequin there. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's card project and technique. I hope you'll give this one a try. We will be back later. I will be back later this week with another 5-minute card video or 5-minute technique video. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.